Welcome to another video from Indzara.com. In this video, I will be discussing the FreezePanes feature in Excel and how it can be handy while using some of the templates from Indzara.com. I'm going to be using the Project Planner Excel template to demonstrate this feature, but please note that this is a feature that is available in Excel and you can use it in all the spreadsheets that you have. And so the task schedule sheet is where we're going to start. And in this task schedule sheet, we have a lot of columns and a lot of rows. And this is ideal for the use of FreezePanes feature. So to demonstrate why we need it, so this spreadsheet has a lot of columns and you have a table of task information. And then on the right, we have the Gantt chart visualization. So as I scroll to the right, I can see the Gantt chart, but I actually don't know what the specific task is in row 15. Though I can see the Gantt chart, though I can see the schedule of the task day by day, but I really don't know what is the name of that task. And so that is where FreezePanes could come in handy. And similarly, if I am scrolling down, as I can see more and more tasks, but now I lost the column header information. For example, I don't know the difference between these two dates and which one is the start date, which is the end date. And as I scroll up, I can see this is the earliest possible start date. This is the expected start date. But as I'm scrolling down, I lose that information. So this is where FreezePanes comes in. So FreezePanes is a feature that's available in the View ribbon at the top, View ribbon FreezePanes. And before I use it, so there are multiple ways of freezing the panes, and I'm going to demonstrate the first option here, which is I am going to select this column because I want to know the task name associated with the Gantt chart at the same time. So I'm going to select the column H and I'm going to go here and say FreezePanes. And now as I am scrolling towards the right, now, when I'm scrolling to the right, I can see that the Gantt chart is still visible and I can still see the task name also. So this is what we wanted so that we can make sense out of the information on the right and on the left because we have frozen all the columns before H. But as I'm scrolling down now, I still have the problem with losing the column header information. So I need to still fix that. Before I do that, I want to also show you another option of freezing rows. So this is the option of freezing the columns. You can also freeze the rows. Before you can do that, you have to unfreeze first, and then you can come here and say, choose row 14, and then go back and say FreezePanes. And now when I'm scrolling, all the rows above row 14 will stay frozen, and hence I will still be able to understand what these columns mean by looking at the column header here. And this is, again, works great for that scenario, but what I want is actually to be able to scroll to the right and still be able to see the task name. I still cannot. So what we need is to freeze both rows and columns, and fortunately Excel, as always, has a way of doing it. So we're going to go back here, unfreeze the panes. What we're going to do now is select a cell, H14. So previously, if you remember, we selected H column or the entire row 14. But what we want to do is to select only one cell, H14, and go here and say FreezePanes. Now what happens is all the columns above, all the columns to the left of H and all the rows above 14, they will be frozen. And so as I am going to scroll to the right, I will still be able to see the task name and the Gantt chart. Now when I'm scrolling down, the row 13 will stay frozen there, which means I can still see which column means what, whether it's a task name or the resource name. So I can unfreeze anytime and I will be able to see all of it. So for example, if I select K14 and now when I say FreezePanes, now I will be able to see both the Gantt chart and the task name. But now these dates make more sense to me. When I scroll down, I'm still able to differentiate between the earliest possible start date and the expected start date. So this is the purpose of the FreezePanes feature. And when you go and unfreeze. You can also do freeze top row or freeze top first column, and these two are standard features available. This is most commonly used if your header data is at the top row or in the first column. This may make sense. So I'm going to do freeze top row. Then when I scroll, the top row will always be static and frozen. And again, these two are quick shortcuts to the most commonly used top row and first column FreezePanes. But the option that we learned, which is unfreeze, select any cell, hit FreezePanes, will freeze both the rows and the columns above. That is the ideal scenario if you have data which has a lot of columns and a lot of rows. If your data has only a lot of columns but the rows are not that many, you can definitely freeze the column and then that would work. If you have a lot of rows but you don't have a lot of columns, then you could definitely select a row and then you can say freeze. Now you're still able to see all the rows by scrolling down, and that would be ideal if you have fewer columns but a lot of rows. If you have any questions about this feature, please leave them in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. And thanks again for watching the video.